green.
Oh, now I see green.
See the green thing at the bottom.
I see a green thing.
That's how we know we're on air.
Brr.
Okay.
It's right there.
Well, green.
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 Rabbi.
Put it on the counter on the corner.
Very good.
He
Okay,
brought
so
cups.
welcome everybody to the Garden of the
Rabbi.
Spirit, a class studying apples from the orchard. This class meets in Long Meadow, Massachusetts. Is held in
For him.
memory of Malka Rus Bas Moshe Margaret Vogel of blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contains selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. The styrofoam cups just came. Anyone want to make themselves a tea? You got everything there. And can you make me one tea? Also, one sugar, please. Yes, sir. Don't lick the spoon. There's only one.
I should ask him to make me my tea.
Yeah? You
Empty
can't.
cup. Empty. I just don't drink tea.
You can't. I know that.
No, I can. I just don't.
No, you can't.
Okay, I can't.
Tea. Excessive tea can lead to
Yes.
something.
Yes, I know.
Okay. So today,
You're talking to those here.
talking to the camera.
Ah, I can't.
No, you're not allowed to have any dead air time.
Okay. We're on page 583.
No, actually, I'm going to read something else that's connected with what we've been discussing. This is amazing stuff. Okay, so I wonder if there's a pause button.
I don't know.
How many guys are in there? 2?
We got 4 in class. One's not here. At least 2.
Thanks.
Not been stirred.
It hasn't been stirred. Okay. So today we're going to start with the Shalah from last week's parsha, because it has connections with what we have been talking about. I actually talking about quite often. He talked about the word echad. Echad stands for Aleph, and Echad can be either for Yaakov or for Yosef. The Ches is for 8, the 8 children from the wives, and the Dalid, and the Dalid is the 4 children from the midwives. Echad. So the word Echad stands for
Just the sons, not children.
correct, sons. So the word Echad could be Yaakov. Because Yaakov, it could also stand for Yosef. The Aleph of Echad. In the beginning of the book of... Yes?
No, I was saying if the olive stands for Yosef,
I don't remember. He says it earlier. It's not
okay.
focus where we are. There's a large Aleph in the beginning of the book of Divrei Hayamim that goes through all the Chronicles. It says, Adam Sheis Enosh. So the Aleph is large. That is the large...
Enoch?
What?
Enoch?
Enosh.
Enosh.
Enoch, the person?
No, Enosh. Enoch is somebody else.
Okay.
Enoch turned into Tron.
Yes.
So the large Aleph is corresponding to Yaakov and to Yosef. We have a statement in the Gemara that the appearance of Yaakov is similar to the appearance of Adam. So then Yaakov would be like a minor Adam. And so that's why the Aleph for Adam, the large Aleph, can also refer to Yaakov and have him in mind. Yosef is called Ben Zikunim. It says that Yosef was Ben Zikunim. He was a son born to old parents, to elderly parents, or to an elderly parent. Ben Zikunim. So, and one of the things that we learned from that, the word zik, what does that mean? Not just old. One of the ways we interpret it is that his appearance was similar to Yaakov's. So Yosef's appearance was similar to Yaakov. Yaakov's was similar to Adam. Okay, here we go. One of the themes that the Shalah repeats from the beginning is that Hashem, Torah says, after they ate from the tree of knowledge, when it goes like segues back into the narrative that had been before, it says that Hashem made for Adam and his wife kasnos or tunics of skin, like leather tunics or something like that.
Shells. Shells.
Shells, klipas. There's a discussion of exactly what that is, but skin, it would be fingernail, but skin garment. Kasnos are vayal bishem, and he vested them, he garbed them, he dressed them.
Right, yeah.
So the kasnos or skin, the word or has an ayin. And the Gemara says that in the Sefer or in the Chumash of Rabbi Meir, it's spelled kasnos or with an aleph. And it's a theme that it comes back to. Commentaries say, what?
They were originally iridescent.
Yes. The commentaries say it wasn't his Torah, actually, that had the aleph in it. It was like he kept a book of Chumash, which I guess wasn't common in those days. They didn't have publishing. It was certainly before Art Scroll. So it seems to say that it was his own private notes, that he had a copy of this, but by him it said the word or with an aleph. There's also another change like that. I can't remember what it is. It says also in his thing it had a lot of difference. What's the difference between aleph and ayin? Nowadays, most of us pronounce them the same, but really they are not the same. The rules of reading don't apply to them, aren't equal. Both of the aleph is a silent letter. The ayin is not silent. The ayin is pronounced lion. Lion. Can I say that? Technically, officially. Okay, so in our pronunciation, we don't do it. There are some Jewish ethnicities or groups that do pronounce the ayin differently. In fact, the Gemara says that I think the people from Beit Shan and someone else, maybe the Haifa people, I don't remember who, should not lead the davening because they don't differentiate between the aleph and the ayin. It says in the Gemara. But in any case, they are similar letters, even though they do have different rules. They are similar letters, being that we group the Hebrew letters by how they are, by which part of the mouth is used in the pronunciation. We have Hey Moitzas Hapeh. We have 5 locations of the mouth that produce sounds, and each group has their. Then we have each location has its group of letters, like 4 or 5 letters that are pronounced from there. I forgot, there are English words. I think the word plosive, for example, just so you this is in English too. I think the word plosive means sounds that are made with a closed mouth, like and stuff like that. B, as opposed to p, like what you're difference between b and p. Maybe one of those is considered plosive, one of them is. I don't remember. We have some other things also like that. So the letters, and we see in many places that the letters are interchangeable. You have Rabbi Elazar, just for one, Rabbi Elazar ben Hyrcanus. It's a Greek name, Hyrcanus, but it's the same as Hercules. The N and the L are interchangeable. And even in Torah, we have a few places where a letter can be switched. I don't remember offhand. I don't remember which words. But we find that a letter can be switched, the same meaning. So the aleph and ayin could technically be interchangeable. The aleph, by the way, just for reading, the aleph does not need a vowel. In general, every letter in Hebrew needs a vowel unless it's at the end of a word. Or unless it's a yud that comes after the chirik, part of the vowel. But every letter needs to have a vowel, even a shva or something, which is just a placeholder, except for the aleph. The aleph does not need to have a vowel. The ayin does. So,
Yud
but
has a
they,
vowel?
what?
Yud has a vowel?
Not always.
Yeah, most of the time not.
It doesn't have to have, if it's part of the vowel, then it doesn't have a vowel. Yud. If it's part of the chirik before, then it doesn't have a vowel.
Like chai,
At the end of a word.
at the end of the word, okay.
End of a word doesn't. It's this end of a word,
Doesn't need a vowel.
or the yud after as part of a chirik, or the letter
What
aleph.
about chayot?
Which letter does not have a vowel?
The yud has a vowel?
The cholam. Oh.
Oh, the O is attached to the yud?
Yes, certainly. So the word kasnos ar in Rabbi Meir's Sefer, his book, had the aleph instead of the ayin. Kasnos ar, garments of light. And the point that the Shalom makes, and I could be from somewhere else, but the point that the Shalom makes, and he repeats it a number of times, is that the original plan, originally, Adam and Chava were meant to be, the spiritual side of them was the dominant side and primary. And the physical side was
Secondary.
ancillary.
Ancillary.
I learned a new word. Huh? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the physical part was ancillary. I guess it was there. And with this, they were meant to have kasnos or garments of light. So, this aleph of Adam is the aleph of kasnos or garments of light, and through the sin of Adam, it was changed to an ayin, to garments of skin. You went from light
To skin.
to physical.
Physical.
To skin. The person is produced from the combination of two opposing sides, the body and the soul. And here he uses the expression of what we say about the nation of Esav and Israel. Kishazakum zenofel. When this one rises, this one goes down. In fact, it says that lo nismal atzur. I forgot that I guess the Roman capital was Sur, I think. It says that Sur only rose when Jerusalem was weak. Jerusalem only rose when Sur was weak. When this one goes up, this one goes down, like a wheel, and they're at diametrically opposed on the wheel. And the only way one could go up is by the other one going
Seesaw.
down. Seesaw. Not parsha ki seesaw.
No.
Before the sin, it was kasnos or there were garments of light. Even the body was light and shone like the neshama. The body was zach v'dak. It was clear and
Iridescent,
subtle, iridescent. The
translucent almost.
The soul was of greater quality, but they both shone. As it says regarding the sun and the moon, this one was the large illuminary, this one was the small illuminary. And I've already explained at length in a number of places. If Adam had not sinned, then he would have lived, everything would be in the form.
Marshmallows there.
What?
Back. There are marshmallows in the back.
No. This is.
Oh, okay.
Everything would be kasnos ar. It would be garments of light. The drop from which people are born would not be called a putrid drop, as it is in the Pirkei Avos, but it would be the holy seed. intimacy would not be shameful, but Maisa mitzvah begoloi, it would be a public mitzvah, like putting on tefillin. There would not be shame in being unclothed, because there would be no Yetzer Hara involved.
So we're talking in the or. This or partakes more of the first light that was made. The first light that was made. Are we talking about that as well?
Doesn't say that.
Okay, we're just throwing a piece out.
But if it's not that light, it's
an
extension.
It's an array of that light.
Yes.
Maybe. Okay.
Now that he sinned, there is shame involved, and it's a putrid drop. Yaakov is of the resemblance to Adam.
Yeah.
He began to repair what Adam did. What does it say about Yaakov? That whereas Avraham had one son who was a tzaddik and one who was a rasha, Yitzchak had one son who was a tzaddik and one son who was a rasha, Yaakov had 12 tzaddikim, and the expression is mitaso shlema, his bed was complete. Because it is from the holy seed, and we're told about him, he never had accidental emission, and the main one to be born was Yosef. His focus was Yosef, his goal. He intended to marry Rachel only, and the first one would be Yosef. So that's why the birthright was taken from Reuven, given to Yosef. Yosef got double. He had two tribes, Menashe and Ephraim. And Yosef is an extension of Yaakov. Yosef is the one who was excelled in matters of modesty, where he didn't listen to Mrs. Potiphar. Cruella.
We learned
Cruella Potiphar.
We learned in the other class about him seeing his father's face again, connecting to Yaakov.
Very good. His father didn't know about it, but he was there to save him. And it says Tzaddik is the foundation of the world. Yesod. Yesod is the bris, and so on.
Yeah.
So that is. So he continues, says, even though they didn't actually revert to the kasnos or, to the garments of light, actually, like Adam before the sin, and like it'll be in the future, but they had some form of the garments of light from great purification. Oh, then he says, so Yosef is ben Zikunim. Yosef, we said before, was ben Zikunim, the son of elderly parents. And it says Ziv Ikunin Shalo, that his appearance is similar to his father. Also, who are the oldest people in the world? Adam and Chava. So he was a child of Adam and Chava through this explanation and through repairing what he did. And he was a branch to purify them, that he himself did not come from the putrid drop. He was created in the image of God. And then the greatest, he says, of giants was Avram Avinu and Sarah. What does the Torah say about them? They were zikenim. They were elderly. Again, this idea of elderly meaning, I guess, belonging to before the sin. Ancient, elderly. And it says they were elderly, Avram and Sarah. They were getting on in years. They took the place of Adam and Chava, as he explained before. And then he said elsewhere, he connects it, I'm going to stop here, I think, but he connects it to, hold on, there was something else about the word zaken. It says there are two types of wine. One wine which brings das, brings knowledge, and the other one which intoxicates. and it's the intoxic wine. It says is for zikanim. It says wine which brings calms the mind of older people, senior citizens, of elderly people. So it compares that the wine, and it says wine that intoxicates is not good. Wine which is connected with das is good, and so it connects that wine which has been aged, and wine which brings which calms the mind of elderly people. It connects that with Yosef, and then it says also the 130 years. Which 130 years?
Which,
Of
Adam
Adam.
was
So
away from
when we
Abba.
got to Egypt, there were 130 years till Yosef was born. Yocheved was born as they entered the gates.
Until Yosef. No.
Yocheved was born as they entered the gates. Moshe.
Till Moshe
Moshe was
was
born when she was 130. So we
Okay.
went 130 years there without a Moshe. So those 130 years of harassment, of exile, were to repair the 130 years for Adam. They corresponded. And then he said a few key things like that.
It's all over the place.
It's just, okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
So that does, I think, shed some light on what we've been, on different things we've been talking about.
And now we have a lack of light.
Well,
What?
we have
Yes.
a lack of light.
Right. Now we have a lack
Thing.
of
A
light.
latka light.
Not a latka.
We have
Lack.
Lack of light.
There
A
has
lack
been
of light.
there has been a concealment of the light.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the book.
Yeah. And what are we at now?
Lack of
The
light.
lack of light.
583.
Hashem spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "A man on whose skin there is a raised disease, or an excess disease, or a bright disease, and it turns into the plague of Sarat on his flesh, he shall be brought to Aaron the priest, or to one of his sons, the priests."
So this is from two books. We have Sefer Likutim and Shar HaMitzvahs.
Well, okay.
All right. They're going to get us with both barrels today, boys.
Yeah.
Know that the word man refers to Zeranpin, since this parts of manifests the 45 name, the allusion to this being that 45 is the numerical value of the word for man, Adam. So,
Torah says Adam, a man on whose skin.
right.
And the word they use is not Ish, but Adam.
Adam. The four spelling out of the name Chavaya manifests the four principal parts of him: Abba, Ima, Zeranpin, and Nukva. Adam, Aleph, Mem, Dalet, is 1 plus 40 plus 4, which is 45.
And we know this already. 45 is the third one in line.
Right.
72, 63, 45
45.
comes third. That corresponds to Ze'er Anpin. That's Za. And then the 52, Nun Beis, is Malchus. So we're right now, okay.
So, from the rear of Zeranpin issue his two wives, Rachel and Leah. Indeed, there are 3 Alephs in the 45 name, which produce Leah and Rachel from behind him. Leah from the first, highest Aleph, and Rachel from the 2 other Alephs, because Rachel begins from the chest of Zeranpin as follows.
Okay, if you remember,
We had
I don't have my word with me. If you remember, so we get the numbers from the expanded spelling.
Right.
And how do you spell hey to get 45? We spell hey
Hey.
aleph.
Hey, Aleph.
So there are 2 hays. That's hey aleph. That's 2 alephs. And the other is from the, so if we have two, hey aleph is 6 and 6 is 12, and then the yud is 20. What does that give us?
32.
32. Yud is yud vav dalid is 20.
Okay.
Yeah. Right,
Okay, hey is hey aleph is 6.
right.
2 hays makes 12.
Yeah.
So we have 10, 12, and 12. No, 10 and 12.
12 and 12 is 24, and 10 is 34.
Yeah, you're 34.
I'm confusing myself. I'm confusing me.
If you have,
Yud is 20.
but hey, you have hey, which is hey aleph, that's 6.
6.
There's 2 of them, that's
So
12.
20, 6, and 6 is 32.
That's right.
And so we need 13. So vav, it can be spelled vav, aleph, vav.
Which is 13.
Yes, and all these spellings that we're talking about are all legitimate.
Of course.
No, I'm saying that
No,
there's,
yeah.
there's none. They can be spelled either way. And
Yes,
and
but you pick the way that gives you the 13.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a legitimate way to spell vav. There are three legit. You
I'm
could have
not-
vav
I'm
vav.
not saying it's how
You could have vav yud vav or vav aleph vav. And so there, and neither of them is a stretch to spell.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you just pick
We're
the-
just gonna
you
pick the
you
one
pick
that
the
we
one-
want, yes.
you
Pick
pick
the
the
one
one
that
you
adds
want.
up.
Yes.
Pick the one that gives you 13. Yeah.
That's correct, but they all are legitimate. So the, that's 3. We have 3 alephs there.
Right.
Is there going to be a chart? There are 3 alephs there for
No,
the
no.
yud, for the for the hey, for the vav, and for the hey. Okay,
So,
and
There's a chart here.
okay, continue, Jim.
what distinguishes the 45 name from the other spellings out of the name Chavaya is the 3 alephs used to spell out the last 3 letters. These 3 alephs are seen as the source of the 2 feminine partzafim that issue from Zer Anpin. Just as these alephs are implicit in the name Chavaya and the means of expression issue from the emotions.
Hold on. So this tells us that there are 2 feminine partsufim that issue from Ze'er Anpin.
Right.
I don't think we've had that yet.
I thought we had
some.
Leah was higher
Yeah.
and Rachel
Rachel
was
was lower.
lower. I remember that.
Yes,
that-
Leah was Bina.
I remember someplace. we had-
Leah is Bina.
Yeah.
She is the feminine aspect that's hidden, that's beyond.
Yeah.
And the Malchus, Rachel is Malchus, is
yeah.
the lower one, which joins with Zah.
And
But we never had 2 feminine partsufim. What we said was that Yaakov, when he perfected himself,
right.
then he was able to join with the
Higher.
feminine aspect that was above, that was higher,
Yeah.
which is Bina.
I remember something about going to Israel too.
He went to Israel
Yeah.
and he had his name changed.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So what distinguishes the 45 name from the other spellings in the name Chavaya is the 3 alephs used to spell out the last 3 letters. These 3 alephs are seen as the source of the 2 feminine partzufim, just as the alephs are implicit in the name Chavaya and means of expression issue from the emotions. As we've seen previously, Leah and Rachel, which the 2 manifestations of Nukva, signify 3 means of expression. Leah is thought, as your Bina, and while Rachel is speech and action. Leah is positioned parallel to the intellect and the upper parts of the emotions of Zer Anpin, since thought is primarily used to express intellect and abstract emotion, while Rachel is positioned parallel to the lower emotions of Zer Anpin, which are expressed primarily through speech and action.
One moment. And so if you notice, in the bold, it said, Rachel begins from the chest of Zer Anpin. So Zer Anpin is a range. There are 6 midos, or 6 spheras in the Zer Anpin.
Right. So it says
584.
It says the upper emotions are considered to be chesed and gevura, manifest in the body as the right and left arms, and the upper third of Tiferet,
The heart,
which is
yeah.
the heart.
We did have
Yeah.
this before.
We have, yeah,
And then Rachel takes it from there, from the
Down.
lower 2/3 of
of
Tiferet
down, yeah.
and down.
Yeah.
Okay? Rudy, would you like to read?
Go ahead, read.
I'll read the next one. The 45 name is manifest in Zer Anpin as follows. The three letters that spell Yud are manifest in Chachma of Zer Anpin. The first Hey, used to spell the letter Hey, is manifest in Bina. The Aleph used to spell out the first Hey is manifest in Das. The three letters used to spell out Vav are manifest in the 3/3 of Tiferes. And the three letters used to spell the final Hey are manifest in Nutzach, Hod, and Yesod. And Yud, Vav, Daled is Chachma. Hey, which is Hey Aleph, is Bina and Das. Vav, which is Vav, Aleph, Vav, is Tiferes. And Hey, which is Hey Aleph, is Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. The
We
last
said-
Hey.
Yeah, we said before that there are 3/3, that Tiferes is divided into 3, and Leah extends to the top third of Tiferes, and Rachel begins from the 2/3 of Tiferes on down. So all three correspond to the Vav, the letter Vav.
Rachel has two olives and Leah has one.
Right.
Ah, okay. Explain.
Well, there are two, from Tiferet on down, from the 2/3, you can see there's an aleph, and there's another aleph going down in the chart. And then from above, you have, going up, you have one.
So on this chart, where is the line between Rachel and Leah?
So it's right here between the vav and the aleph, you would say. See, in the middle, I would say, where there's vav, there's a line, and there's aleph. And you see, Tiferet has three parts. Two parts would be for Rachel, which would be the vav and the aleph Tiferet, and then the vav for the top Tiferet would be for Leah.
Okay,
That's how I would read it. But,
okay, another column in the chart.
yeah, the middle. I'm looking at the middle column.
Yeah, I'm saying we could put another column to the
Right.
right
Yeah,
for Leah and
Right.
Rachel.
right. Using the right and the middle side.
Okay. All right, Alan.
It follows that the three olives are situated on the middle axis in Das Tiferet Yesod. Thus, Leah is derived only from the aleph manifest in Das, while Rachel is derived from the other two olives. This is because the three letters in the spelling out of Vav, Vav, Aleph, Vav, manifest the 3/3 of Tiferes. The second third corresponding to the aleph of Vav, Aleph, Vav, and it is from this point that the position of Rachel begins.
Yeah, right here.
Evidently, the Hey used to spell out the final Hey is seen to be manifest as Netzach and Hod of Zer Anpin, which the Aleph of this letter manifests Yesod of Zer Anpin.
That which means, I'm not sure why he sees that, but if you looked at the bottom row in the table,
Yeah.
where it's Hey, and then Hey Aleph, and that's Hachod Yesod, what he just said in his own commentary is that the Hey corresponds to Netzach and Hod,
Yeah,
and
and
the
the
Aleph
it was more Yesod.
is Yesod. Hold on. Okay.
Right. As we have seen previously, Leah is positioned opposite the upper half of Zer Anpin, extending down to the bottom of the upper two-thirds of its Tiferes. Rachel is positioned opposite the lower half of Zeir Anpin, beginning at the top of the bottom third of its Tiferes. This is because, as we have also seen, Yesod of Leah covers, that is, its consciousness contextualizes Zeir Anpin as far down as the upper two-thirds of the latter Tiferes, inclusive inasmuch as the intellect that produces the emotions remains in the background of the Midos only that far. Beyond that point, the Midos become too practical, too oriented toward expression, to exist within the consciousness of the intellect. They must leave the context of Ima and be revealed on their own.
I don't understand this. It says that that Leah takes 2/3 of Tiferes.
Yeah, I think that's an error. Leah should only
take
take 1/3.
1/3.
It should be 1/3.
But because it says Rachel's positioned opposite the lower half, beginning at the top of the bottom third.
Right. I would say Leah only goes down just to the line below the Vav in Tiferet. And that because you're talking 2 Alephes, and then from that point down, you're talking Rachel with the Aleph, Vav, Che, Aleph from the middle point.
Yeah, so I'm wondering why he wrote
I think
that.
there's an error in the not in the interpretive part.
Should ask him for if that's correct.
And because the idea is right, because Leah's Bina, and it only goes so far, and it only goes far into Tiferet, and then it's you're talking about emotive processes here. So,
And also from the Aleph. Rachel has 2
Right.
Alephs.
and
Leah
Rachel
only has 1.
has 2 Alephs, and she is in the world of action and thought, which is, I'm sorry, action and speech. So those are more of the emotive processing.
Yeah.
So I think there's a contradiction there that's not intended.
That's what we can ask him. Okay. Page 585 at the bold. Jim.
Thus, Rachel takes 2 Alephes, each of which is an aspect of the divine light. It follows, therefore, that Rachel possesses 2 types of light. Twice the numerical value of the word for light, or, is almost the numerical value of the word for house, bayit, and also the numerical value of the word for laughter, shechot. Sechot.
One moment.
Sechot.
Yeah.
Sechot.
We had this. We had this. I think a couple of weeks ago.
Sechot. Sorry.
I mentioned it. I mentioned it at the Friday night dinner. You guys, none of you were there. We had a legacy dinner Friday night about a month ago.
Yeah, you mentioned that you
Little more.
mentioned.
You were there.
You
He was
mentioned.
there.
No, I wasn't at there.
You
But
weren't
you
there?
mentioned that you mentioned.
Okay, you remember that.
Yeah.
So it says over there it
Right.
was connected
Right.
with the Beis Hamikdash. All right. So explain how that is.
So or is Aleph, Vav, and Resh, which is 1 plus 6 plus 200, 207. 2 times 207 is 414. Interesting. All right, now Bayit, which is house base Yud Tav. So you're at 2 plus 10 plus 400 is 412.
Yeah, 412 equals 414.
Well,
Well, keep going.
We're gonna subtract the 2 kollels this time. The
No, I don't know.
kollel for or, we'll subtract it. Or
so-
and or.
There's also, there's only twice when the Torah mentions laughter. Right? 2
Yitzhak.
times? By Avram, he laughed, and by Sarah, she laughed.
Yeah. Over,
says elsewhere.
Over Yitzchak.
Where else in the Torah does it say about laughter?
Off the top of my head, when it depends what context. Cruella Potiphar, Mrs. Potiphar told her husband, you brought this slave here to laugh at me. The same
But
word.
That's a statement, that's not laughing.
That's not actual laughing.
Right.
Could be.
There was something about his wife.
So could you
There
hold
was
on
something
1
about
minute?
his wife.
Let me finish with Rudy. So it doesn't have the word. I mean, it could have the word, but the idea that someone laughed, like that, are only mentioned by Avram and Sarah.
Avram and Sarah.
Okay.
I thought it was something about when
Over Yitzchak.
No,
that
when,
was it. There was the laughter.
with Potiphar when he told
Over a
his-
child.
Over something
something about
Well, it was
when
over-
she mentioned to her husband that he did this.
Well, I know
and he said,
Sarah
"Put
was
him in
over-
jail," and
over the child.
There was some kind of a laughter there.
What was Avram?
Thing is-
Avram,
That's the word. To mock me. You brought the slave to mock me,
me.
and the Hebrew word is sachok.
But I think she had the response that she had was like laughter. No, I thought there was something there.
No.
I'm clear
The
about Sarah. I'm not clear about Avram.
Other thing is, we have two words. Before I mentioned about letters. What?
Well, I was clear that Sarah was, the context of laughter came up, Sarah's, with Isaac. Abraham, I wasn't clear where the laughter came up.
Oh, same thing.
I think it was Isaac.
Yeah, same thing. When
A
Hashem,
child.
when Hashem
Child.
told him.
Yeah, the child. They'd have a child. At his age, there was a laughter of sort.
Yeah.
At his advanced age.
Alven me'ashana yivaled.
Yeah.
Bim Sarah bat 60 shana teled.
I thought it was, well, and then, hence laughter.
Look at chapter 17, Rudy. You got it?
I'm getting there.
Chapter Yud Zayin 17.
17
17.
is where Avram laughs.
Where Avram laughs.
Yeah, he's going to
In the
have
middle.
a child. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Avram fell on his face
Yeah.
and he laughed.
He laughed,
Yeah.
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 Now there are, before,
Yeah, no, it was something else. You do with that?
What was it? Just want to see what good Zion. Yitzchak, yeah.
before I mentioned,
Yitzchak.
in the Hebrew letters, words that are produced from the same part of the mouth and are interchangeable. And I said that I couldn't think of anyone. But here's a perfect example. The word laughter has two different spellings. One is sachak, where we start with the letter
Tzaddik.
sadi,
Like in the,
And the others.
and like here, and the other one is the letter sin.
yeah.
And both are produced from the teeth.
Tzachak.
So they both mean laughter. Generally, one is used more for laughter, one is used for play or playfulness. But we do find even where we have the same verse in different places in Tanakh, and the only thing that's changed is the tzadi and the sin. One says Yitzchak, and one says Yischak with the letter sin. Az Yimale Schok Pinu. Then our mouths will be filled with laughter, is with sin. Not the name Yitzchak, but with the sin. Mirth.
Yeah,
They always say mirth. Then our mouths will be filled with mirth.
mirth.
Okay.
So, Sahak, Sin, Chet, Vav, Kaf, 300 plus 8 plus 6 plus 100, also 414.
Hold on. Let's go slowly. Schok is sin and kuf. Sin is 300, kuf is 100, and then the ches and vav in the middle, 414.
Yep.
So schok is double or, 2 times light.
Right.
Wow. So what?
I don't get whereby it gets to 414, but that's fine. I mean, you can, the Kolel, I get that, but,
Well, let's go ahead.
all right. Okay. In order to arrive the exact numerical value of the word for house, we disregard the first 2 letters of the 2 words, or, that is, the 2 olives leaving the two sets of the remaining two letters, Vav and Resh. Twice this is the numerical value of the word for house.
What's twice this?
The Vav and Resh.
You do this.
Okay, look, very
Vav-
simple.
Vav
You guys
is-
look at me? Okay. We're talking about the word house, bias.
Yeah.
So, or bayit. Is Beis Yud Tuf
Yeah.
is 414. But the
No,
problem
412.
412.
412.
It says base Yud Tuf is 2
house is-
plus 10 plus 400.
Bias is 412. And what he's saying now is you take the Vav and the Resh, which is twice that. Vav and Resh is 206. Twice that is 412.
So, okay. So, but
Taking away
bayit,
the two olives.
bayit has two meanings. It's Beis Yud Tuf is house, but it's also the letter Beis. Aleph Beis.
Right.
So Beis is spelled Beis Yud
Yud
Tuf. That is the only way to spell. There's no talked before about legitimate variant spellings for letters. Beis is never z. There's never a Zion sound. We pronounce it Beis, but it's Beis Yud Tuf.
Is that base olive tough or no?
Beis Yud
Yud Tuf.
Tuf.
Okay.
Okay, no z. So it's
Soft,
four.
soft, tough, yeah.
It's tough. 412, but
Right.
it's also the letter Beis. How much is the letter Beis?
2.
2. So if we want to talk about, what I guess he was going to say is,
But he's just
when the
saying
base Hamikdash is standing, we can throw in
Another 2?
another 2.
I get it.
Bayit, bait.
All right, so the house, okay.
Is bayit also a word for the womb?
Yeah, a euphemism for the womb.
Interesting.
Where? I'm not sure if it's anywhere official, but it is.
I'm like I'm another.
You're in a different world tonight,
I'm on
Rudy.
another thread right
Yes,
now.
you are.
Yeah.
We
So-
haven't pushed you.
No.
Vav Resh,
So that's the
Because
bayit.
euphemistically, I mean, it refers back to what we were just talking, what I was just raising a few moments ago.
Can you just speak up?
Well,
Go ahead.
If bayit is a euphemism for the womb, right, and it refers to the birth of Yitzchak, the laughter refers to the birth of Yitzchak, and it's twice. What Yitzchak is also a Kedas Yitzchak, which in and of itself is an inference to the Beis Hamikdash. So it all kind of ties together.
It does, and he's going to tie that. That's where he's
It all
going, kind
ties
of.
together.
Part of it. He's going to take some of that.
But here he's talking about when he disregards the first.
But the two,
The first two-
that are added are the lights, the two
The what?
olives. The two olives from Rachel. Yeah. The two olives here.
Yeah.
from
Are
Rachel.
added for the 412, which equals the 414.
He's not
Yeah,
do-
one-
he's doing it from or. Take away the two olives from
First he said,
from or
Take away the 2 olives from Or.
from or the 2 olives from or. So and you have Vav and Resh twice. That's where you get 412.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you take these
It's
two
not-
olives,
No, but-
these two
No, I know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
that's.
That's
If
a
you add 'em-
different
if
thing.
you
We
add
gotta,
them back.
I
you
lost
got-
that. You're right. I forgot about
He
that.
said, when he says take the 2 olives, it's take the 2 olives from or. It's not or, it's from or, olive Vav Resh. Take with 2 olives, you have Vav Resh. And
If-
twice that is the 412
Why are we taking away the 2 olives?
to get to 412. I don't know.
Yes, we're desperate.
We're desperate.
Because the 2 olives correspond to Rachel.
Rachel.
Or are
Right.
personified by Rachel.
Right.
Right here.
exactly, and she can't go any higher than.
And if there's and if the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed,
Yeah,
then
Then
we're
we're missing
missing
the-
Rachel, or missing the 2 olives.
there it is.
Right.
Boom.
So we're missing the 2 olives both ways from,
See how it works?
A 3-point shot, nothing but net.
See how it works? It's amazing. Oh,
It was a half court shot, I'm sorry. Yeah.
This is like a
this is
it's like a
amazing.
Michael Jordan play.
This is amazing. This is just amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is we did that part, right?
Well, I just used it,
No.
Vav Resh, 6 plus 200
Yeah,
equals
you know what?
206 times 2 is 412.
Yeah. Do you want to read that part again in order to arrive?
In order to arrive at the exact numerical value of the word for house, we disregard the first two letters of the two words, or, that is, the two alepphs, leaving the two sets of the remaining two letters, vav resh, twice. This is the numerical value of the word for house. Vav resh, 6 plus 200 is 206, times 2
It's 412.
is 412. And we have no Beit HaMikdash.
I mentioned before what we say in Shir Hamalos. Shir Hamalos, we say, Az Yamales Chok Pinu. Then our mouths will be filled with mirth, referring to when the Beis Hamikdash will be built. So the idea of schok,
Yeah,
mirth, or laughter,
yeah.
refers to the time of the Beis Hamikdash. We said before that schok is 414.
Right.
Okay, go ahead, Jim.
I was just thinking that Rachel weeps because we're in exile, and when we're not in exile, she'll be restored.
Unbelievable. Then what?
She'll be restored when we're not in
Unbelievable. Very good.
exile, when Beit HaMikdash, I was just saying, she weeps when we're in exile. So
Excellent.
it also ties into the piece that we're talking about here. This is the mystical meaning of our sage's statement that since the destruction of the Holy Temple, which is a manifestation of Rachel, who possesses two types of light, it is forbidden to fill one's mouth with laughter. For there is true laughter only when the temple is standing, inasmuch as the numerical value of the words for laughter and house are the same when related via twice the word for light. The idiom for temple is Beit HaMikdash, literally, the house of the sanctuary. Although the numerical value of Bayit is 412, and that of Sachok is 414. Sachok is 2 times or 207, and 2 times the last 2 letters of or 206 is Bayit 412. Rachel's diminished nature, extending only as high as the Zeir Anpin on the chest, reflects the state of reality during the exile, when the temple is in ruins. Since reality in this state is imperfect, it is not fitting for us to be totally happy at that time. Hence,
At any time.
at any time. At the exile, I would say, at any time during exile. Hence the Jewish custom remembering the destruction of the temple, even on happy occasions. We break a glass at a wedding, we leave part of a house unpainted, etc. Mystically, this state is indicated by the fact that the letter Aleph must be removed from the word for light in order for the 2 lights of Rachel, speech and action, to reach the numerical value of Bayit. Removing the Aleph from Rachel's life signifies the destruction of the temple, since the temple, the house of prayer, the yearning of the feminine principle of creation for content given to it by the masculine principle, is the manifestation of Rachel. When the light of Rachel is lacking because the temple is destroyed, the house produced by this is less than the full value of laughter. It's all
Right.
there.
Right.
That was a little beyond me.
It's just what we talked about before.
Just what we were talking about.
Just what we talked about
tying
before.
it into Rachel and the elimination
Because
of
there's
the
no base
olives.
of big dish, it's not
And
complete,
It's
so.
not complete.
yeah.
She's not. You don't have. You don't have the joy, the happiness.
So we take away the
The
Aleph
two
from
olives,
Rachel.
the 2 olives, that's all, it's,
We
that's-
take away the Aleph because the temple is destroyed,
Yeah.
and that brings us to Bayit,
To
right,
buy
it's
it,
the house.
it's just a house.
212.
Right.
It's just a house?
412. It's not the base of Migdash.
It's not
Is
the
that what it
base of
says?
Migdash.
It's the house.
It says house. The idiom for
Just
temple
it's
is
the
Beit
bias.
HaMikdash is the house of the sanctuary. You don't have the full base of Migdash, as I see it.
Removing, Rachel's lights signifies,
Yeah.
from Rachel's lights also from the ore. Removing it from the
But
ore
then,
gives
but
us
then it
412.
equals it equals bayit.
Right, just a bias.
The yearning of the feminine principle of creation for content schok. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's so bayit. But bayit is part of Beit HaMikdash. I don't think it means that bayit means that it's lacking from the Beit HaMikdash. Just as bayit in its state of destruction.
It's a
Bayit in the state of exile.
It's destroyed.
It's lacking, yeah.
It's a destroyed
And
bayit.
it's short of laughter, short of
short of
smoke.
laughter.
Right, because chot is 414, bias is 412. You put the light, the olives from
Put the
Or
light back,
in there,
and you
put
got
the
the
light
Beit
back,
HaMikdash.
then you got 414.
And you got the light back.
Right,
Okay. That's a very high scoring game.
Right.
414 to 412.
yes,
And,
The-
and then Rachel's no longer weeping.
right.
So amazing.
Right?
So then, but also he says, why is the Beis Hamikdash? Why does it personify Rachel? Because it's a house of prayer, which indicates or corresponds to the yearning for content, yearning of the feminine principle of creation for content given to it by the masculine principle. We had that before, that the feminine represents concreteness. And Matt, I don't know if that's connected, but okay, I'll take what it says. Okay, so we're on 585. We'll do a little more at the bold. Alan?
Right, but Zer Anpin possesses all three olives, signifying three complete types of light, and 3 times the numerical value of the word for light, or, which is 207, is the numerical value of the word for Kesser.
Hold on.
6
So
to 20.
Zerampin says all 3 olives, the 2 for Rachel and 1 for Leah.
Right. Is 620 plus the kolel, because Kesser is Kuf, Suf, Resh, 20 plus 400 plus 200, 620. And the koleg is 621, and 207 times 3 is 621.
So 3 ors is Kesser.
Yeah. Phew. Okay.
Okay. This indicates
This indicates that the Kesser of Zer Anpin is complete, while the Kesser of Rachel comprises only 2 types of light. Every type of...
Hold on.
Yeah.
so. Oh, because Zerampin has all 3 olives.
Right.
But Rachel only has 2
2.
olives. So
Right.
therefore, the Kesser, her Kesser.
Well, when the 3 olives are 3 types of light equals the same numerical value as Kesser, which is 620 with the kola.
Is that where they got the name? 3 olives.
3 olives.
Oh.
That's where they got the name.
3 olives, Kesser.
No.
We stopped here.
Yeah,
we used to
that's-
serve it. Now we serve
Yeah, you
Kirkland,
Oh.
the kind that doesn't fit in the fridge or freezer. It's
Doesn't fit in the freezer.
too big.
That's a big freezer, I'm sorry. It's a real big bottle or a small freezer, one of the two.
It's a big bottle. The okay. Should we
Oh.
should we stop here
Yeah,
or should we go on? When the Alter Rebbe used to
Let's-
learn Chassidus, with this Chavrus, I think it was, I think I'm from the Malach. Afterwards, they would have to have a bagel with butter to
Bring 'em down.
To go back to reality.
Wow, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all starting to fly away at this point.
He's flying. He's already gone.
Yeah,
he's
Rudy
got-
came in here. He was never grounded.
He was,
He was never grounded. He was
No.
like,
he was gone. And you
wanna-
started with Schlock. Oh
Should we
my
shut that out and
God.
keep on going, or
Yeah,
shut that?
you start with
let's see,
this.
a little more good things. So, okay,
yeah.
so this is good. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
And
Now
next Tuesday we should still be on.
Yeah.
What's next Tuesday?
The last night of
Right.
Hanukkah.
Oh,
Last night,
it's okay. It's nothing. Yeah.
Eighth night.
Yeah. As long as we're all healthy, it'll be good.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay? Okay, now we can hit stop streaming.
Hit stop screaming.
Oh,